What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the 49ers Golden Ticket. My name is Gabriel, and today we are going to use our quarterback play-by-playback to recap that Week 10 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers. We're going to talk about the offensive line issues that we're having, because there's definitely some. We have to talk about Jimmy G's stark improvement, and I think I know why. D'Amico Ryans is going to get his flowers because that defense is still balling. And then, of course, we have red zone problems that I want to talk about. I might have a solution in there. And then looking ahead to Week 11 against the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico, we got to have our points to victory. And it looks like you made it to the quarterback play-by-playback. This, of course, is where we recap that game from the quarterback's position while still trying to highlight the big plays or the game-changing plays. Now, obviously, we're not perfect here. We're still pretty new. So if you guys have any suggestions or comments on ways to improve this section or other parts of the show, of course, please don't hesitate to reach out because we want to be able to bring quality content to you. But for now, let's take a look at what we got.
Chargers offense after 6 plays and 43 yards. Herbert deep left to DeAndre Carter for a touchdown. Talanoa Hufanga busted coverage. Extra point is good. Chargers up 7-0. After 4 straight runs by Christian McCaffrey, Garoppolo short left to Ayuk for 5 yards. On 3rd and 6, Garoppolo short middle to Juwan Jennings for 7 yards. Garoppolo short middle to Ayuk for 22 yards. Ayuk 8 yards after the catch. After 3 straight runs by Elijah Mitchell and a first down, Garoppolo incomplete short right into the end zone for Deebo Samuel. After runs by Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, 49ers settle for 3. Robbie Gould kicks it in for a 20-yard field goal. Niners down 7-3. After a 6-play, 38-yard drive, the Chargers punted to the 49ers. Garoppolo deep middle to Ayuk for 19 yards. Ayuk fumbles, and it's recovered by the Chargers. 49ers defense does its job, forces a 47-yard field goal attempt by the Chargers. Kick is up, and it's good. Chargers up 7-3. Garoppolo short middle to Ayuk for 6 yards. Ayuk proving that Garoppolo can still trust him. On 3rd and 5, Garoppolo incomplete deep right to McCaffrey. McGlinchey called for a hold here. McCaffrey slips on his route. After the 49ers defense forces another 3 and out, Garoppolo incomplete short left to McCaffrey. Garoppolo on 3rd and 3 can't find anyone open, scrambles for 2 yards, just misses the first down. Wishnowski goes to punt and it's blocked. Only goes for 13 yards. Chargers take over. Big play alert. Justin Herbert deep right to DeAndre Carter down to the San Francisco 2 for 33 yards. Even though the right tackle false started all game to protect himself from Bosa, he still gets home. Sack. Chargers settle for a 25-yard field goal and go up 13-3. Garoppolo incomplete deep right to Deebo Samuel. Garoppolo short middle to George Kittle for 21 yards. Kittle 9 yards after the catch. This might be the best play I've ever seen Garoppolo make. Garoppolo shuffles through the pocket, escapes right, on the move, throws a dime to Ray McCloud for 33 yards. Garoppolo short right to McCaffrey for 6 yards. McCaffrey 8 yards after the catch. Garoppolo short left to McCaffrey for 12 yards. McCaffrey 17 yards after the catch. 3rd and goal at the 1, Jimmy G sneak, touchdown. 49ers extra point is good. Chargers still up 13-10. Drake Jackson, with pressure from the left side, gets his hands up and blocks the Justin Herbert pass. Charles Omenihu, generating pressure from the inside, strip sacks Justin Herbert, recovered by the Chargers. This is the controversial play that got Dre Greenlaw ejected. Herbert drops back, scrambles up the middle, tackled by Jimmy Ward and Greenlaw with the helmet-to-helmet contact. Chase Daniels takes over for Herbert after the hit, sacked by Nick Bosa and Jordan Willis. Chargers settle for 3 here going into the half and go up 16-10. Garoppolo, short left to McCaffrey for 21 yards. McCaffrey, 20 yards after the catch. On 3rd and 1, Garoppolo sneaks it up the middle for no gain. On 4th and 1, Garoppolo sneaks it up the middle for 1 yard, first down. Garoppolo, short right to Elijah Mitchell for -1 yards. Mitchell, 4 yards after the catch. Garoppolo, incomplete, thrown into the end zone, dropped by Ayuk. 49ers settle for 3. Gold, good for 26 yards. Chargers still up, 16-13. Defense does its job again and forces a punt. Garoppolo, sacked for -10 yards by Khalil Mack. Garoppolo, incomplete, short middle to Elijah Mitchell. On 3rd and 20, Garoppolo, short right to Debo for 16 yards. Debo, 20 yards after the catch. After punts by the 49ers and the Chargers, Garoppolo, incomplete, short right to Debo. On 3rd and 5, Garoppolo, short left to Jennings for 11 yards. Garoppolo, incomplete, short right to Debo. Garoppolo, short right to Jennings for 12 yards. Jennings, 5 yards after the catch. On 3rd and 8, Garoppolo, short left to Jennings for 10 yards. Jennings fights his way for 7 yards after the catch. After 5 straight runs, Garoppolo, short left to McCaffrey for no gain. On 3rd and 10, Garoppolo, short middle to Ayuk for 24 yards. Ayuk, 10 yards after the catch. McCaffrey, up the middle for a 2-yard touchdown. Robbie Gould, extra point, no good. Niners up, 19-16. 49ers defense forces a 3-and-out. Garoppolo, short right to Ayuk for 11 yards. Garoppolo, once again trying to make a play with his legs. Incomplete, short right to George Kittle. He couldn't get his feet in bounds. On 3rd and 13, Garoppolo, short left to Debo for 8 yards. Debo, 6 yards after the catch. Giving Wishnowsky some more love here at the Golden Ticket. Wishnowsky punts a beauty for 40 yards down to the Chargers 1. On NBC, they tried to say it was a touchback. No way. On 4th and 3, Justin Herbert incomplete to Josh Palmer. Turnover on downs. After not being able to capitalize on great field position, Robbie Gould good from 20 yards. 49ers up 16-22. After Chargers received the kickoff, Justin Herbert, deep middle, intended for Josh Palmer, intercepted by Talanoa Hufanga. Garoppolo kneels twice to end the game. 49ers win, 22-16.
And there you have it, guys. Our 16-22 victory over the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the Chargers were leading for most of that game, but this team proved resilient and pulled out the victory. Before we go any further, we got to talk a little bit about those offensive line struggles. Now, this team is known as a running team, and we only averaged 3.8 yards per carry against the Los Angeles Chargers when every other team has averaged 5.7. Now, why is that? Why would a running team average less? Did the Chargers sell out for the run? Well, we watched the tape, and that wasn't exactly the case. However, I believe it has to do with the right side of the offensive line. Mike McGlinchey is struggling. He's struggling hard. And I think it's because he's still injured. Like I said in previous ones, I don't believe he's a bad player. It's just right now he's really struggling. But Mike McGlinchey isn't the only one. Spencer Burford is also struggling on that offensive line. Now, he is a rookie, and typically the Niners don't like to play their rookies. So I want to give him a little bit of a pass. And I also want to assume that he's going to get better as the year goes on. But as of right now, Spencer Burford is also a weak link, and that makes up our right side of the line. We keep having to line George Kittle up over there, and George Kittle has to chip and then try to go run his route. Well, that's also taking George Kittle out of the pass game a little bit, because when your offensive line allows so much pressure, Kittle doesn't even have time to get open. So in my opinion, one of the ways to help solve that and possibly get Kittle more involved would be to have Kittle chip so he can continue to help, but then just kind of turn around and leak out. Something similar to what we see Travis Kelce do in Kansas City all the time. It's just a chip and then leak out. And if you're open or Jimmy needs an outlet, boom, Kittle's ready for it. And Kittle's a great yards after the catch guy. I don't know why this isn't part of the offense. But back to the running game. Now, I've noticed we are not able to run right. We run dominantly behind Trent Williams there on the left side. We even try it up the middle a little bit, but still there's a struggle because I don't believe in Jake Brendel either. He has improved this year, but he is an older center already, and this is his first year starting. The 49ers need an option there going forward. Jake Brendel, I don't believe, is the answer. But as of right now, Jake Brendel is playing well enough to get the job done. So I have a possible reason as to why that our offensive line isn't improving. Chris Forrester, I know he comes with a great reputation, and he's been around the league for a long time. But maybe his coaching's getting outdated. I'm not so sure. We haven't seen a lot of improvement from Mike McGlinchey. We did see improvement from Aaron Banks, but maybe that big improvement was mostly the strength and conditioning staff just changing his body. Maybe Banks already had all that with him from his coaching at Notre Dame. But I'm not seeing improvement from anybody else. McGlinchey hasn't improved. Burford isn't really improving. Brendel's improved a little bit. And then there we have Aaron Banks and Trent Williams. Obviously, Trent Williams is who he is. Now, Jesse Naylor over at Last Second Sports did point out a tell with Trent Williams. And if you guys haven't had a chance yet, I recommend you go check it out. Now, there's a lot going around about it. Some people feel like it affects the game. Some people feel like it does not. But a tell is a tell. And Jesse Naylor, great work pointing it out. If the Niners end up determining that Chris Forrester is the problem, and that's why the offensive line isn't improving, I could see them going ahead and giving Joe Staley that chance. They've had him around the organization a ton. They were talking about it last year about possibly bringing him in. They have yet to do that. So I almost anticipate them wanting to bring Joe Staley in next year and to work with some of the younger offensive line that are going to be coming in. Like I said in the last podcast, I believe the 49ers are going to take the shotgun approach with their draft at the offensive line next year to replace that center, right tackle, and maybe even right guard if Burford doesn't improve. I do like the Burford pick, but he does need to improve, and so hopefully Joe Staley can get the best out of him. It seems like we are talking about Jimmy Garoppolo improving every single week. So I wanted to try to figure out the reason why he's improved so much this year in comparison to years past. And the common thing that I came up with was the quarterback's coach, Brian Griese. Man, you are doing a heck of a job. He was brought in to help mentor Trey Lance because he does have tons of experience playing quarterback as well as an analyst. His dad was the quarterback to that 72 Dolphins team that went undefeated and won it all. So there's definitely a lineage of experience as well. So Jimmy Garoppolo maybe is getting a lot more value from Brian Griese than we realized. It's a whole lot of value that Rich Scangarello couldn't bring to him. And the reason we got rid of Rich Scangarello was because he didn't want to coach the type of quarterback that Trey Lance is. He said so in an interview without, of course, using Trey Lance's name because that would be a PR nightmare. But he did mention that he doesn't want to coach the mobile quarterbacks, and Scangarello could be the problem. We're seeing a lot of improvement from Jimmy Garoppolo, which is surprising because he didn't have an off season. He was still is recovering from his shoulder surgery. He didn't get a chance to build a rapport with his players, yet this is the best we're seeing him play. This is exciting, 49er fans, because if this is true, then it's only going to continue to get better. The biggest differences, in my opinion, are Jimmy's footwork, which never improved with Rich Scangarello, and of course, his decision making. He's starting to throw the ball away more. He's figuring out that he doesn't have to make a play on every play. It's okay to live to fight another down. But the killers are when you turn the ball over, and Jimmy had a propensity for that. But in this last game, he had 0 turnover-worthy plays. How exciting is this, guys? Jimmy, keep improving, bud. Speaking of improving, DeMeco Ryans has this defense continue to improve. Now, we watched him try to make a bunch of adjustments to make up for the loss of Emmanuel Mosley and, playing Jimmy Ward in the slot. Of course, trading him out for Samuel Womack and then putting Jimmy back in. But this defense is still lights out. Gave up 0 points in the second half and 52 total yards. That's unbelievable. 52 yards in an entire half of football, given up to one of the best offenses in the NFL and one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Wow. The defensive line is definitely a huge factor in that. Nick Bosa is just dominant, and I expect him to have a huge game against the Cardinals as well. Nick Bosa is the anchor to that defensive line, and it doesn't matter who's next to him. There was 3 starters out on the defensive line. Nick Bosa was the only starter playing this game on the D-line, and still, it was a massive, massive performance from them. When Warner was asked after the game about, what changed in the second half and how they're able to get so much production, he just said that they had one call for the whole second half, and then maybe they switched it up with a couple of blitzes and pressures, on third downs or obvious passing situations. But basically, it was just line up and play, man to man. And obviously, the 49ers players are better. Fred Warner is an All-Pro. Nick Bosa is an All-Pro. Charvarius Ward looks like an All-Pro. Jimmy Ward, Pro Bowler, right? Talanoa Hufanga looks like a Pro Bowler. Dre Greenlaw, he's playing better than, Fred Warner this year. And so if Fred Warner's an All-Pro, well, Dre Greenlaw might be. Although Dre Greenlaw got screwed in this game, that ejection was BS, people, in my opinion. But I do understand the penalty, the 15 yards that you give him for the helmet-to-helmet contact. But the ejection, basically saying that he did it on purpose and it was malicious, etc., etc., I didn't buy that. The trajectory of Justin Herbert's head changed when he was hit by Ward. So it was a bang-bang play. I understood the penalty. I didn't understand the ejection. That was pretty unfortunate in my opinion. There was a couple of strange reffing blunders throughout the game. And then NBC tried to say the 49ers got a touchback on one play where you clearly see the ref wave it off. The 49ers did pin the Chargers there on their 1 or 2 yard line. And it was a pretty thing. And I'm glad that the refs didn't call it a touchback like NBC wanted. That was, like I said, very strange. Now, before we look ahead to our Week 11 matchup against the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico, which is cool, I do want to talk about the red zone and what are maybe some possible solutions of things we can do. Well, we see sweeps and jet sweeps, but we don't see them anymore from the Niners anyways. And those are things that can help improve the red zone offense. Also, I hate it when I see the quarterback lined up by himself in the backfield. That means you're not even threatening the run. The defense, boom, suddenly knows it's a pass. Now all your passing lanes are going to get clogged. Always threaten the run when in the red zone. I don't understand teams that don't do that. And then, of course, you got to get your playmakers involved. Juwan Jennings, he's a big target. If you can trust him on third down, why don't you trust him in the red zone? Brandon Ayuk, he's got the arms of a 6'4" wide receiver. He's proven to have sticky hands and great route running. Why doesn't he get more opportunities? Well, Gabe, he dropped one in this last game. Didn't you see it? Hit him in the shoulder. Yes, I do see. But why don't we run a fade with him into the corner of the end zone? Let Jimmy throw it over his shoulder. Make him go up and get it. There's options. There's things we see other teams doing that we're not. Is it a trust problem? Do we not trust that we can get it done? Are we playing scared? Because that's not a Super Bowl team if we play scared. I'm just saying. But those are a couple of solutions. Running the inside with the tight end. We see that from Travis Kelce all the time. We see it from other teams as well. Why doesn't Kittle get involved in the red zone? He's a big target with great hands. And he's an all-pro, and you don't give him the ball. It's very, very strange. And like I said, I hope it's not because we're playing scared. Because if we are playing scared, sorry guys, we're not a Super Bowl team. All right, guys, looking ahead to our points of victory against the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico. It is said that it's going to be 82% 49ers fans. That's amazing for an away game. But really, there's things that we're going to have to contain. Kyler Murray being one of them. If he plays, if Colt McCoy plays, it's going to be a more cerebral game. If Kyler Murray plays, it's going to be a more scrambling game. So those things will be very interesting to pay attention to as the week goes on. Now, 49ers do struggle with scrambling quarterbacks. I assume D'Amico will have an adjustment for this. He has adjusted to everything else up to this point, so I hope he will have an adjustment for that. But it's not to say that Kyler Murray still won't get his. He's a very special athlete who just plays too much Call of Duty, so he doesn't read the field so well because he's not studying his playbook. I know that's accusations and it could be falsities, but it was in his contract, and we are seeing him not play well, and we're also seeing him argue with his coaches and his players such as DeAndre Hopkins. So there's clearly something going on. Also, there's a quarterback controversy there now all of a sudden. If Colt McCoy ends up playing in this game and he wins, which I don't expect to happen, but if he does, then the Cardinals maybe move on from Kyler Murray. How crazy is that? They just paid him $230 million guaranteed. Crazy situation going on over there in the desert, but we are just focused on the game in Mexico right now against the Cardinals. So contain Kyler Murray. Do not let him scramble. The 49ers also got to limit their penalties, especially against a physical receiver like DeAndre Hopkins, who we also need to make sure that we shadow. But the Cardinals might be getting back Hollywood Brown this week, which gives them a trio of elite weapons. DeAndre Hopkins, we all know about. Hollywood Brown, we should all know about. He's very good, came over from the Ravens in a trade. And then a first-round pick from the Cardinals last year, Rondale Moore, who seems to be blossoming into his own. That's 3 first-round wide receivers. So they got playmakers everywhere. I do anticipate the 49ers being able to line up and have its advantages against this team. And I hope Nick Bosa becomes the game changer that we know he is and changes the game for us, because he's going to be crucial in this one. I recommend lining him up all over the defensive line, not just on one side. Don't let him just stay on one side, because then the Cardinals will be able to adjust to that. If you continue to move him around, and that includes on the interior and the left side and the right side, Cardinals will not be able to make the proper adjustments because he will be somewhere else all the time. So I anticipate that to be a big thing for the 49ers in this game. As mentioned previously with Kittle, I absolutely anticipate him to help chip on a guy like J.J. Watt and then leak out. I would love to see the 49ers do more of that. Use Kittle the way the Chiefs use Kelsey. Let him be the weapon that he is. The 49ers have a ton of weapons, and it just feels like we don't get them involved. It's really unfortunate that the 49ers are too methodical maybe to get all their playmakers involved. But if you can leak out George Kittle or leak out Christian McCaffrey, he definitely needs more pass routes in my opinion, or at least more targets. As well as Debo. Where are the screens at? Where's the jet sweeps? Debo's a dominant player after the catch. So get the ball in his hands. We are trying to use him in other ways, and it's just not working. He seems to be out of rhythm. Now, the run game with Debo was working last week. He broke some big ones. But let's get him more out in space where he's lined up against a corner and not a defensive tackle. Just my opinion. Special teams will also need to step it up. We've been giving up too many plays on special teams. In fact, the only bright spot is Mitch Wishnowsky. Of course, here at the Golden Ticket, we're always giving Wishnowsky love because he's definitely earned it this year. Wishnowsky, keep it up, but the rest of special teams has to step up. We are giving up way too much, and it's actually hurting the team when at the beginning of the season we thought it was going to be a strength. So please do more. And then to conclude it all, we just need to control our emotions in this game. Go back to what works. Too many times do we see something work and then we never see it again. And so my score prediction for this game is going to be 49ers 27, Arizona 21. And that's going to wrap it up for us here at the Golden Ticket. I appreciate all of your guys' time today. I hope you guys learned some stuff, or at the very least was entertained. But if you guys ever have any comments, suggestions on things that we can do to improve the show overall, please do not hesitate to let us know. Leave something down in the comments or follow us over at 49ersGT on Twitter and tell us something there. But either way, we'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, go Niners.